And we are back. Welcome again and again and again. I don't know how for how long we're gonna do this, but for as long as we're doing it, we're gonna make it interesting and exciting and fun and sticky. So you keep coming back, keep wanting to listen, keep wanting to share space. Uh, I love that we can hold space for creativity. And as I'm seeing all like the internet and what is trending, and sometimes it's tempting to talk about like the salacious things um, and everything else that's happening on social media. But I'm glad that we can always create space for this, and you continue to enjoy and share the space with me. So there's a couple of things I do want to talk about today, and we're going to start off how we always start off with an exercise in mindfulness. Do that 10 breaths, focus on your breath. I always prefer your eyes closed, starting now. Now that we're here, I have a brain teaser for you. A man looks at a painting in a museum and says, "Brothers and sisters, I have none, but that man's father is my father's son. Who is in the painting?" It's interesting. Um, Today, what do I want to talk about? I think I want to start off a little different today. Today, I want to start off with a story. There is this famous story about Picasso at a coffee shop. But to bring it closer to current day and more to an artist that I guess I could relate to in some aspects, let's use Basquiat in this story. So we're substituting um, Picasso for Basquiat. And Basquiat is at a coffee shop here in Brooklyn. And he's sitting there. And somebody who appreciates his art sees him at the coffee shop, sitting outside, and recognizes him, and says, "Hey, Basquiat, I love your work. Your paintings, they speak to me." And it would be such an honor to have you just draw a quick painting for me on this napkin. There was a napkin that Basquiat had next to his coffee cup. And he's like, "Oh, sure." And he quickly drew a piece of art. It might have taken him 30 seconds to a minute to do it. And she was like, "Oh, thank you. I'm so grateful." And she reached for it. And he said, "That's $40,000. And she's like, "What?" It literally took you 30 seconds to draw it. And he stopped her and he corrected her. He's like, "No, what you think took me 30 seconds actually took me 30 years, because you have to account for the experience, the trials, the tribulations, the honing in on my skills, and the refinement of my abilities to be able to deliver it." And needless to say, she walked away without paying for that $30,000 napkin art. But there's a valuable lesson there, and it's one that I, as a creative, continuously struggle with. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I think we all understand the value in our creativity. We all understand the importance of it. We've seen it manifest into amazing things. We've seen it create opportunities for us. Although most like creatives die broke or artists die broke. Things are shifting, and we're now seeing the value in our creativity, and now that value is being seen by others, and we get compensated for our creativity. As much as we're getting in that area, I still feel like we are ways away from not only pricing our creativity, but getting the real value of it. And as I said, that is something that I continuously have to deal with. And I partially blame myself for it for a couple of reasons, because I think sometimes, because the ease of which creative ideas come to me, and I've always talked about my creativity takes shape in the form of like technology, but another gift, and rhetoric and my ability to speak, but another gift that I rarely talk about, but it has been a huge part of my creative journey, is my ability to ideate, come up with ideas. So much so that I have a innovation as a service firm, NOM, and it is based around connecting individuals to their creativity. That is what this platform is on. NOM is the producer of this, and then 2 is using that new connection to your creativity to help innovate. But we also do ideation. This will all make sense. Just give me a second for this plane to land. And when I was in corporate, I used to do a lot of, I was an innovation consultant. And I'd get flown out all over. And these companies would have problems that they hoped that I would be able to solve. And I never did any research to better understand the problem. Because a lot of what I realized later on is a lot of the ideas that came to me were from lived experiences, or my brain does this thing where it captures snapshots of daily life and environments and things that I see. Everything that actually my mind consumes, it almost like stores it somewhere that I can later on use in an ideation session. But I would never do any extensive research to be able to prepare to walk into a meeting. And I'm saying that for a reason, because I remember one time when I was conscious of it, because I had a colleague of mine, and she had mentioned that, hey, she has to go leave to prepare for the meeting. And then the night before, and she was like, "You're not going to do this." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." But it made me conscious that maybe this is not a normal thing for people to work this way. And I remember telling myself the night before this ideation session, and I said, if I mess up tomorrow night, I'm thinking about it, then I know I have to change my process. And I walked into that meeting. We ideated for a few hours, and at the end of it, whatever the solution that I came up with, there's a winner. And I'm not saying that because there's no way for you to go prove it, but take my word for it that it was in fact a winner. And it reaffirmed and reassured me of my gift and my abilities to ideate. And I've never been in a situation or faced a problem where I couldn't come up with an idea or a solution that wasn't feasible. Now, let me correct myself. I couldn't come up with an idea that was a possible solution. Feasibility will always depend on whoever that idea is for, and they have to decide whether or not, because they know the nuances or the little idiosyncrasies of the area that they're in, the field that they're in. But the idea itself, based on the constraints provided has always been sound, and I was always able to deliver, and I still to this day. But what I realized in that moment is that ideas come to me really easily, like without even thinking. And I'm saying that knowing that that's how it actually appears. I think when people are around me, it's easy for them to say, hey, let me pick your brain for a second. And picking my brain means, hey, can we ideate really quickly, and you tell me how to proceed, or what do you think my next move should be? How should I solve this problem? And because these ideas come to me really easily, and it can almost appear as it is effortless. And I can't blame them for thinking that, because some ideas come as quickly as seconds. Others develop over time. And when I say over time, like over the course of the conversation. And I realize that a lot of people around me recognize that gift that I have. And sometimes I wonder, is because it appears to come so easy that it is hard to value it. And even I have difficulties quantifying or assigning value to my creativity, because I was able to build a consulting firm, innovation as a service, based on this idea of packaging ideation and idea generation as a service. And for those in the idea space, for those who've built businesses or taken ideas and see them manifest into actual real things, they understand the value of it. I've personally seen some of my ideas turn into multi-million dollars, and I could argue even billion-dollar opportunities for larger organizations. So in times like those, it's an easy sell. Like, they get it. So paying for ideas is not only it's not a far-fetched concept or idea, it's assigning significant value to it also feels natural or normal for them. But for the everyday person, especially people who have a personal relationship with you, I don't think they understand the frustration in it, because most conversations always lead to, hey, can I pick your brain? And I don't have a problem with it, because I feel like it does come easy to me. But me saying that is all, it takes me back. And this is the importance of the reason I told the story, referencing that story. I think it wasn't easy for Basquiat to draw on the napkin. It appeared to be easy. But truly what it was a result of years of practice, of expertise, refinement, and all those things. And because our skills become so sharp, it appears as if though it's easy to kind of generate or pull out the air. And that is the thing that I've been battling with for, I want to say for a long time, but most recently it's rearing its ugly head again. And as much as I want to blame the people, I feel like I should take some responsibility for this. I think I don't know that I want to tell somebody who reaches out to me, hey, when they ask, hey, I'd want your take on this, to say that comes at a cost. And if I'm honest, I know my hourly isn't necessarily the lowest, so I get it. And sometimes it's hard to charge an hourly rate for what could possibly be a 10-minute conversation, because what I realize is when people want you purely for ideas, And the moment you give them that idea and they have direction and they know where they want to go next, and you've added clarity to it, that's where the conversation stops. And there's usually like, oh, I didn't even think of that. Thank you. And then it disappears. Like the conversation disappears. That interaction ends. And then you find yourself in a situation where it's like, okay, should I really charge you for that? And the answer is yes, I should. Why don't I? Because I know how hard I worked to get to this point. You might not know it, but I know. And I also know how valuable that is for you, because I saw when you had that eureka moment, how there was almost like a declutter happening in your brain and in your line of thought. And as I've talked to other creatives about how do you make sure you manage access to your creativity and then add value to it, so others are comfortable paying for it. And then recognizing when someone is only purely around to siphon your creativity and with no intention of actually paying for it. And a lot of people have said sometimes you limit your creative output, or almost get yourself to not be creative in a moment. I value and treasure my creativity so much that if I'm in a creative flow state, I never want to turn that off. And if ideas come to me, I have to give them to the world. We talked about before, just creativity is supposed to be shared. It's supposed to illuminate. And when the message is sent to me, I have to deliver it. So to be in a position where I have an idea that I think could solve a problem or change the direction or increase the trajectory of a particular problem for a particular person, it's hard for me to not give that. It's hard for me to not share that. And I don't know how to convince myself to not. But in a part of me also feels that I should not. I should hold it in. Because how could they understand my value if each time they come I give it away so freely, and then in that same breath try to charge them for it the next time? And I think that is the challenge that I'm faced with, because it can get frustrating. And as much as it's a them problem, they will only do what I allow them to do. And a lot of people suffer from like creative blockage. I myself, I'm not exempt from that, because of my ability to connect to my five senses. And this is one of the things that I personally studied over time and did enough design research to understand how, as human beings, how our physiology is impacted or influenced, or how it impacts or influence our creativity. One of the workshops that I offer is how to get over those blockages, and these are things that I practice in my own life and in my own existence. And because of that, when I hit creative blockage, when you hear writers say they have writer's block, I've figured out a way to exit that, or get around that is a better way to say it. And I've had opportunities where For those who get it, would just pay me to be in a room, because I have a unique way of creating space for creativity, for innovation, and if I'm honest, as humbly as I can sound now, I think I've mastered that art. But I hate having to convince people of that. And I don't think I have to. And I also don't think that they need me to. I think most people just don't want to because they can't quantify it. When it's a piece of art, or it's music, or it's a writing, or it's a tangible service that you can touch and feel, it's easy to quantify and assign value to it. But as we mentioned, we talked about before, ideas require execution. And even with the greatest of ideas, a lot of people believe, and I also believe to an extent, that they're only as good as how you execute or implement those ideas. And for them, the brunt of the cost should come in the implementation and execution of it. But I don't think it is fair to assume that the idea itself didn't require value. And I'm not here to say that they're equally weighted, the idea generation and the execution of that idea. But I'm saying both are valuable. And great ideas are few and far in between. Generating great ideas is difficult. And sometimes I have to give myself more credit, and in giving myself more credit for being able to generate ideas, I can truly value my art, my gift, my creativity. And in doing so, I can assign that value without feeling as if though I am forcing somebody or getting somebody to pay for something that they don't see valuable. And what I should, or I will start to do, is just charge. If you don't see the value, don't pay for it. And that's where the conversation stops. I'm no longer just allowing my brain to be picked. Just, hey, let me get your thoughts on this. And there's nothing against that, because I have friends that we share. We exchange services. Like, there's people that I know I will tap for certain things, especially in their area of expertise. And they tap me, and I don't even think about it. Like, I can sit and have conversations with them, and I can come up with so many ideas and multiple ideas, and I never feel like it is at a loss, or it is not valuable, or any of those things. But it's for the ones who I know for a fact are only here to extract. And those are the ones that I'm more concerned about. Those are the ones that after the conversation I leave feeling like, I feel like someone came to siphon from the energy source. And I have to figure out a creative way to stop that from happening. And I still think it'll be difficult for me, just because the nature of my life, personally, professionally, even in academia, it's about idea generation, helping to solve problems, helping individuals, students, founders maneuver and navigate through the everyday obstacles of coming up with solutions. Ideas aren't free. Idea generation isn't easy. Ideation in general is an expensive process, even though you cannot see it and you may not be able to measure it now. Ideas aren't cheap. You are. Pay the people that you know you go to for ideas. Pay the problem solvers. Pay the people that are solving the issues and in getting you closer to where you ultimately want to be. I will end this by, or not by, where we started. A man looks at a painting in a museum and says, brothers and sisters, I have none, but that man's father is my father's son. Who is in the painting? The man's son. I will leave you how I always leave you. Go be great.